So today we moved to the next hymn, which is in the order of hymns. We started with Kutsan Gerasa, 113, and now we are in Kakshivan, the Raghatamasa. First the hymn. He has two hymns to Usha. And I was mentioning before that Kakshivan is one of those dedicated to Ashwins. His major achievement is through Ashwins. And in some way it is linked to the dawn. Ashwins are those who accompany the dawn into our lower hemisphere. It is those two powers of the supermind which act upon the vital, and they bring the light into the physical realm. Sri Aurobindo mentions this in The Secret of the Veda, that the dawn is actually the illumination on the physical plane. And in this way, it is very unique. Unique in that, because you can be illumined in the mental or vital realm. It is happening quite often in the spiritual life. But to come to the physical, to touch so deeply that you could feel it physically, for that you need the intrusion of the Divine Mother, the descent of this higher force. And it's interestingly that Pavitra also mentions this to Sri Aurobindo when the force descends upon him. He says it feels physical. It doesn't feel spiritual. It is just so physically present, so tangible. Sri Aurobindo says, don't worry, it is a spiritual force. He was worried that maybe it's not the spiritual one. It's so physical. So let's start with mantra. Om Vang me manasi pratisthita mano me vachi pratishtitam aviravirma edhi vedasyama ani sthaha shrutam me ma prahasi anena dhitena horatran samdadhami ritam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmamavatu tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So 123, 123, easy to remember from the first mandala. Trishtup Devata Usha. 13 verses. Prithuratho dakshinaya ayoji enam devaso amritaso asthu krishnat u asthad ud asthad arya vihayach chekitsanti manushaya kshayaya. The broad chariot of Dakshina is prepared, yoked. When it is ayoji, prepared or yoked mainly to the movement, to the horses, swiftnesses of consciousness. The immortal gods have ascended it. Divaso amritaso enam asthu. Enamastut, Ainamastut. They ascended onto the chariot. So that's also the indication when the dawn comes, she brings all the immortal gods with her for action. That's what we mentioned many times. in our retreat studies also, that the dawn, when she comes, she brings all the devatas for action here. Krishnad udasthad Arya vihayach. From the darkness, the noble one, Arya, arose. Udasthat, stood up, purifying, illumining the open spaces of the man's dwelling. Chikitsanti, literally curing, manushaya, kshayaya, vihayach, the open spaces, or those spaces which were occupied by the night. Now she is curing or purifying or illumining for the man's dwelling, mana, or for the mental dwelling. Interesting. Manusha, for the man's dwelling. Kshayaya. So this man's dwelling is actually where we occupy, our soul occupies this particular space and time, and building the body in it, yes, physical, vital, and mental spaces, dwelling spaces. We dwell within the mental, vital, and physical. It's our whole house, our dwelling place, kshaya, from root kshi, to dwell, to occupy. So she illumining those spaces which we occupy. She illumines our mental, vital, and physical nature. Purva Vishwasmat Bhuvanata Bodhi Jayanti Vajam Brahati Sanutri Uchaviyakhyat Yuvatih Punarbhu Aosha Agan Prathama. I should not undo. Osha Agan Prathama Purva Hutau. Ausha, yes, together, Osha. Agan, so Agan, she came. She came, the dawn came first to our first offering. So the first she woke from all the worlds, Vishwasmat Bhuvanat, from the universal world, or from all the worlds, if you wish. Maybe from there is no plural here, I just put it from all the world. The first she awoke from all the world, or from the universal, from the universe. Abodhi. Being vast, she is winning and obtaining the plenitude. Brahati, being vast. Jayanti, she conquers. Vajam, plenitude. Sanutri, and obtains. She is not only conquering, she is also becoming the mistress, the master, the lady of these plenitudes. She, the owner, she obtains them, makes them her own. High and wide she looks. Vyakyat looks wide, Uchai. Ucha, wide, high, wide. Akyat, she looks. Yuvatih, ever young. Punarbhu, always reborn. Punar, again reborn. Or again becoming. Aosha Agan, the dawn came first to our first offering, Purvahutao. So to our first offering, the dawn comes first. It's interesting that she comes first. It's like Agni is our invocation, our aspiration rising upward. And first who comes to this is the dawn. And the dawn brings all the godheads and gods for action. But she comes first, and then all the gods and godheads are being involved. It is through her that they are involved. So these two, Agni and dawn, have particular relations. They are first. Agni is first invoking. Without him, there is no sacrifice. Without aspiration, there is no answer from above. And the answer from above is the dawn, with all the godheads. And she involves those which are needed for transformation. She possesses all of them. But in every case, whatever the case, she knows whom to involve. It may be Indra, it may be Varuna, Mitra, Yaman, Bhaga, all the Adityas. It can be any other godhead, Ashwins, Maruts, whoever is there to act upon us, to our invocation, to answer to our invocation. Ever young, always reborn. Interesting word, always reborn. Punarbhuh, again becoming, again expanding her presence here. I am translating bhuh as becoming, as occupying the space. If we analyze these roots like bhabhi, bhuhu, bhari, we will see that all of them have this particular meaning. Bha is appearing, yes, shining, simply shining. Bhi is shrinking, becoming afraid, yes, kind of withdrawing, diminishing. If Bha is simply occupying space, without any particularities, then Bihi is diminishing the occupation of space, falling back onto oneself. To be afraid is to fall back, to withdraw, to draw back, to shrink. Shrink is a good word. Shrinking is being afraid. Then the Bhu is space, yes, this vastness, or so occupying the vastness in space, so to say, extending oneself in space, and this is Bhu. So she's Punarbhu, again she occupies the space. And Bhari is to bear, to carry, bear the same etymology, to carry through. So we have Bhabhi, Bhu, Bhari. If you compare these major roots, you will understand what Bhu means, Bhavati. I'm speaking partially to our Sanskrit students. So bear with me, those who are not Sanskrit students. So I'm kind of shooting with one stone, two birds. Yat adya bhagam vibhajasi naribhyah usho devi martyatra sujate devono atra savitadamuna anagaso vochati suryaya. If today you should determine the destiny for man, yad, if, or yada, when, or which, bhagam. Bhagam can be destiny or portion. Usually it's a portion, but in the Vedic, in the first idea is the portion which is to be shared with man, portion of his engagement in manifestation. So this portion today, what you want to distribute, to share, to determine, vibhajasi, this is subjunctive, Vedic subjunctive, with long I in the base, in the stem. What you want or intend to share with man, his share, Nribiach, for the souls, for the heroic souls of men, that what you decided to share with them, that particular destiny, Bhagam, that particular part in engagement in manifestation, Usha or goddess, Devi, Martiyatra, among the mortals, Sujati, or you who is perfectly born. You who are perfectly born among mortals. That because she is perfectly born among mortals, notice this, it's interesting, because immortal among mortals is the Agni also. He is immortal among mortals. And here we have the same idea. She is perfectly born among mortals. That means she is reaching to their physical, vital, and mental nature. And this is the most transformative power of our life. It is the sacrifice which receives the answer from above, from the Divine Mother. Devono atra savita damuna, and then God Savitar, who is of the house, damuna, domesticated, domicile, or whatever, who is of the house, and I put house capital, who is of this house of the divine. This is what we are building here, the house for the divine, should declare us sinless before the sun, before the Surya. Anagasach vochati Suryaya. Vochati is the combined form from aorist in the Sarvadhatuka form. He should declare us for the sun, for the supermind, as sinless. Interesting, so she has to do this work. She has to impart on us the destiny on our souls, who is perfectly born among mortals, that destiny which the God Savitar, who is of this house, the Lord of this house, of the universe, or our bodies also, here should declare, because he will be taking that transformed being, soul, forward, pushing it forward. Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonav Parachodayat. He will be pushing us forward, those transformed elements in us, and declare us, or present us, or express us as sinless, without narrowness. So we will become ready for the sun, for the supermind. So these are the stages before supramental manifestation. Yes, the first is the flame calling the dawn. The dawn answers and prepares the being, imparts on us the destiny, on our souls. The one who is perfectly born among mortals, she works upon us, upon our nature, and then God Savitar, who is next, the Lord of all who is born in this world, the Lord of the house, he will bring us forward to the sun and declare us as ready for supramental manifestation. By the way, in other place, and most probably we will read later, but I will mention here, in relation to this verse, it is said, O dawn, hurry up with your work, sacrificial work. Because if sun comes, Surya comes, he will see us as thieves and robbers and will burn us to ashes. So this is something interesting, because she has to finish her transformative work before the supramental manifestation. Because if supermind comes and we are not ready, he will regard us as thieves and robbers, as those who are not prepared, who are not transformed enough to receive the supramental change. In another place, Mother speaks about the supermind, which can bring a lot of havoc if it comes to Earth, and the humanity is not ready. And there are portions of humanity who are not ready. There is the whole continent. She speaks about Africa. She says she's very concerned if she looks at Africa and she sees this black, dark spot. There is no receptivity towards the supermind. And in that sense, it will be demolished. It will be thrown back, as it were. It will burn it as thieves and robbers. And then she tells us the story, it's in Agenda, about Africa as a very high civilization in the past. It was a very highly developed, sophisticated civilization. But then people, souls of those nations or those peoples, were satisfied with what they achieved, and slowly they started to degrade. They stopped progressing, moving forward, and they degraded to the level of the animals. They started to live natural life and were satisfied with it, whatever nature provided. They were no more like human beings looking for progress. There was a tamas, the darkness, which possessed Africa. And I was thinking about this also quite a bit. What happened to Africa? I think it was a wake-up call, with lashes, with pain, with a lot of abuse. It was a push towards the wake-up call for consciousness. And most probably it succeeded to a certain extent. But still, if you come back to Africa, you will see how strange it is. People are not fighting for their lives. Yeah, they're fighting among themselves, but they are not really doing anything. They are starving to death without really making use of their land, without working it. Yeah, they are not really engaged. They are not laborious. They are not progressive. Yeah, you can see it. You can see it throughout different places in Africa. I'm not just to say it for the sake of to criticize or anything of the kind. I'm just looking at it from the supramental change, from the future's point of view. Yeah, we have to be progressive. Our flame is to grow forward, upward, calling for grace, receiving it and letting it go and work and transform us. And if we don't do that, he even warns the whole Western civilization. He says in the West it's also very dangerous. If people will accept the ideal of satisfaction of senses only, that is the ideal, comfort for the senses, it will be, and he calls it a barbaric civilization with technology. So we will start falling back, because we are here for the spiritual development. We are here not for just comforting senses. So here you see in this small thing, there's so much what the dawn does. Yes? She is making us more receptive of more light from above and prepares us for Savitar to take us to the sun, to take us to the new level of evolution of consciousness. That's our purpose, and not living for the satisfaction of senses only, let us say. In the Gita, Sri Krishna says the same. Mogham partha sajivati indriya ramo. The one who satisfies his senses lives for satisfaction of senses. He lives in vain. It's a very strong statement. In vain he lives. He lives for nothing. At the end, there is no progress there, or very little at least. So we must kindle the flame, call the mother, and receive her help. Allow her to bring us, to prepare us for Savitar, for the Lord of this manifestation, who will bring us to the self, to the Atma, Jagatahtasthusashya, of everything what moves and moves not, and that is supermind. That is the purpose. Griham griham ahana yati acha dive dive adhi nama dadhana sishasanti dyotana shashvad agat agram agram it bhajate vasonam. Notice this diction, griham griham, agram agram. This is very typical for this poetic diction of the rishis, yeah? From house to house, from body to body, in body and body lit the golden flame, Savitri. Yes. Sri Aurobindo uses this syntax in Savitri. He loves this, in body and body. And in body and body, totally non English phrase, in body and body. But it sounds so familiar for those who study Rigveda. So, griham griham, day by day, from day to day, she comes to every house, day by day. Dive dive, notice, griham griham, dive dive, agram agram. 3 different formations. Day by day, dive dive. She comes to every house, griham griham, yati, early in the morning. Ahana is this the name of the dawn or morning. Morning comes to every house day by day, to every being. We are waking up. We are waking up to the progress of consciousness. Establishing from above, adhi dadhana, names, her new names, namani. The names she established, what are the names? It's a very cryptic idea for the mental being, of the mental structure of the modern humanity. But name is something like a meaning. And rishis discovered new names, it is said, new names. New names, new ideas, new intentions for manifestation, new ideas which were never ever before. So she brings these powers which we have to recognize and establish in this evolutionary journey. She establishes from above new perspectives or new, what do you call it? Aims. This is what it is. New aims for our development, which we didn't have before. We developed to a certain moment, we didn't have the aim which is next. We didn't have the aim of the supermind until Sri Aurobindo came. We even didn't know that there will be a next stage in evolution. But he brought this name. And this name established totally new vision for our life. Desiring to achieve, realize, obtain, sishasanti. It's from root san, to obtain, desiderative, and desiring to realize, to obtain, to become, dyotana, constantly shining, shashvat, constantly, agat, she comes, at first, always, agram, agram, at the beginning she comes always, at every beginning. Indeed, it, bhajate vasonam, sharing her riches as the intrinsic luminosity in the substance. I'm adding this as an intrinsic luminosity in the substance because of Vasuna. Vasu is the luminous dwelling within the substance. That's the translation by Sri Aurobindo. So there is something within us, the soul, and that has to be, intensified. And this luminosity within has to be intensified. And when dawn comes, she intensifies the luminosity of our souls. That's what happens really. You remember Mother speaks about when the supramental descent took place, but how she saw all the souls. She saw them as they were shining like 100-volt bulbs. Before they were 5-volt bulbs, hardly visible that there is some light there within. But with the supramind, when it came down, everybody was shining like 100-volt bulbs. This is what she does. She intensifies the luminosity of our souls. Bhagasya svasa varunasya jamih ushach sunrite prathama jarasva paschasa dadhyam yo aghasya dhata Jayematam Dakshinaya Rathena. Sister of Bhaga. She is sister of Bhaga. She is the Divine Mother. Bhaga is the Ananda. But because she is the projection of the Divine Mother, she is prepared, later we will see, she is prepared by the Divine Mother to act. She is her action upon the manifestation. She is the sister of Bhaga and sibling of Varuna, Jami, relative of Varuna. Varuna is the divine self, existence. O dawn, Ushah, O happy truth, Sundrite, express yourself first, Prathama Jarasva. Claim or sing first yourself. Put him down who establishes evil. Paschasa dadhya yo aghasya dhata. May we conquer Jayematam, or prevail over him by your dakshina, by your discernment, by your intuition, and your moving chariot, Rathena, and your swift movement in manifestation. Maybe one more verse and I will stop here. Ud iratam sunrita ud purandih ud agnayach shuchanaso astuh sparhavasuni tamasa pahudha avishkrinvanti ushaso vibhatih. May our hymns, Sundaritani, or happy truths, literally Su Rita, happy dynamic truths, or perfect dynamic truths. May our hymns of perfect dynamic truths rise up, Ud Iratam. Up should rise our aspirations as the holy thoughts of fulfillment, Purandhih Ud. So it's always Ud iratam sonarita, ud purandih. Up. For the shining flames are already rising. Ud agnayach shushuchana so astuh. Shushuchanach is constantly flaming. The flames of aspiration are there, rising. The desired treasures covered by darkness. Sparhani, desired, Vedic word. Vasuni, the desired treasures of the luminous dweller within the substance. Tamasa apagodhani, yes? They are covered by the by the darkness, tamasa, by tamas. And the hues of the dawns, or simply the dawns, anshasach, are revealing them, avishkrenvanti ushasach, vibhati, shining wide. So these treasures are hidden by darkness in us, by an inconscient, by the ignorance in us. There are veils upon veils of ignorance which are separating us from our innermost being. And she, when she comes, she makes it shine brighter. And in that sense, she reveals to us our most desired treasures. And here I will stop and open for your comments and questions. Otherwise, we have to kind of engage also.
I have a question.
Washing clothes also. Sweet.
I wanted to ask Vladimir, so am I incorrect by saying that Usha belongs to the overmind plane?
Usha is the supramental action upon our lower hemisphere, from the overmind down to the physical.
Right, because that's what I'm trying to get my head around. These hymns are, because you mentioned supermind. Is this not an invocation to the overmind plane?
Well, this is very mental kind of division. And if you think of it, what she does, she prepares us for the supermind. Of course, you can say it's overmind, but what does it help, really? I just don't get it, truly. Why it should help. She works on the physical level and she brings the light of the sun. She brings transcendental light and all the godheads into action. Of course, they are all of the mental godheads and they are all working on the mental, vital, and the physical nature. But the light she brings is the supramental light. The overmental light is the light of the supermind in the darkness. The mental light is the light of the supermind on the mental plane. The light of the vital is the supramental light on the vital plane, is even more darkened and narrowed. And the light of the physical is the supramental light on the physical plane. It's all supramental light. But to reach to the fullness of realization of supramental consciousness, we have to go step by step. Every time I hear this objection from many people who study Sri Aurobindo, but these are of the mental only. This is not the supermind. As if they understand what of a mind is, or what is mind, or what is vital, or what is physical altogether. And it is really putting me into big kind of troubled corner, where I have to go into this explanation, which I'm doing now again. And very, very talented and people who actually dedicated all their life to the studies of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, this is overmind. What? What do you know about overmind? It's intuition, it's dakshina. It is that lightning of Indra which comes from above, and lightning of Indra, Vajra, in the Rigveda. It is made of the light of the sun, of Surya. That very light of the supermind is acting in the narrow, darkened hemisphere here. Yes? And that's why we call it overmind. Because there is darkness. Darkness pervaded the supermind. And so the supramental sun released the rays. The rays are nothing but the supramental light reaching through the darkness. Yes? So that's why they interrelate. And so we have the rays of light, and Sri Aurobindo calls overmind the realm of the rays of the sun. Not the realm of the sun, but the realm of the rays of the sun, Svar world. And for the longest time, Sri Aurobindo believed that Svar world, overmind, was the supermind. And then he realized, Oh, it's not, because it cannot transform the physical nature. It can prepare it, like the dawn and Savitar. They prepare and deliver us to the sun. And when we enter into the sun body, into the self, if our consciousness can handle it, we become immortals. This is an achievement of immortality in the physical way. So what are we talking here about? You see how I put it, Mike? You hear me?
No, yeah, I guess I'm just thinking out loud because
No,
there's
please.
a lot of there's a lot of it seems to be insistence, no, from Sri Aurobindo and Mother to not invoke the overmind gods, and that there's no mantras as well. And there's nothing that seems to exist for the work that we're supposed to do in integral yoga, because anything that we follow is already something that belongs to the past in a sense. So that's just part of where my question's coming from.
All right. Well, that I can address, yes. Sri Aurobindo translated the Rigveda till the end of his life. Yeah, the last notes made by Sri Aurobindo are about Rigvedic verses. Yeah, and this is amazing. Yeah, and whatever we know from whatever whoever speaks, and not them, because over mental godheads we should not invoke. Yes, but when we invoke the Divine Mother, she brings the godheads we need to be engaged for our transformation. She knows whom to engage. If I, with my ego sense, start to invoke one particular Godhead because I want particular siddhi achievement, that is not good to do in integral yoga. But if you invoke the Divine Mother, she will bring the elements for our transformation, all those divine powers which she knows are needed. I cannot know that. So if I invoke a particular Godhead because I think I know, and that is the danger. But if I invoke the Mother, there is no danger. She will engage exactly the Devata needed for the action. And there's so much to do in this lower hemisphere. We are so far away from being transformed that all of those Devatas will be supremely useful. Supremely. And Sri Aurobindo says, even himself in the aphorisms, "Oh, Indra, bring intuition, or Varuna, bring purity, and you, Kali, disconnect me from the dependence on those godheads." So he needed them for his own transformation, but he doesn't want to depend on them, and that is the danger. So if we invoke the Divine Mother, there is no danger. Yeah. That's what I want to say.
And so just to last thing to say on that, so invoking the Mother would be different, right, to invoking Usha?
Well, it's the same, the dawn, yeah. The same. In the Vedic parlance, it is the dawn. The action of the Divine Mother upon our lower hemisphere. It is she. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Usha wants to say something about Usha.
Can one not say that the mantra Om Bhurvuvasvat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, and also Sri Aurobindo's mantra Om Tatsavitur Varam Rupam Jyoti, and that when one takes this mantra like in between, it cannot hurt. I think, and it's like in between, including everything.
Oh,
somehow.
yeah. Usha is speaking about the mantras, that there are no mantras. There are some mantras. There is this Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. I am reading it every day. Matri Rupena Sanstita Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. Shakti Rupena Sanstita Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. Shanti Rupena Sanstita. Namastasyai, 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 Namo Namaha. Om Namo Namaha Shri Mirambikayai. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Aravindaya. Om Namo Namaha Shri Mirambikayai Shri Aravinda Sharanam Mama. This is the mantra Mother gave to Satprem when he was asking for mantra. Is there any mantra we can invoke you? And she said, okay, if you must have, this will be the mantra. And she gave it in Sanskrit. So there is mantra. There is also another beautiful mantra, yeah? Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, Satyamayi, Parame. These are the mantras, yeah? And there is the Gayatri mantra by Sri Aurobindo. There are few mantras, they are there, yeah? And they work. They are very powerful. They really work. They connect us immediately to the Mother's presence. We can feel it physically, the descent upon our body and action in our mind, vital and physical. Yes. By the way, it's interesting, reading Sri Aurobindo's works gives this immediately presence of the Divine Mother. You could feel it physically, whatever work you take. Savitri is the most powerful, of course. But you open any page, Life Divine Synthesis, you name it, yeah, you will feel the presence. So in that sense, most probably mantras are not so needed. Yeah? You have Savitri as one great mantra, and you can go ahead with this. By the way, I had the same presence and experience through reading the Rigveda. And in that sense, I was surprised, and I know for sure by experience, truly speaking, that these two are connected. The Vedic vision, the Vedic knowledge, and Sri Aurobindo's integral yoga. They are going together, and they embrace the whole manvantara of our long period of development in this period of time. Yeah, from the beginning of time of our engagement as the group soul till its end. And this is the knowledge which brings the Divine Mother into action.
I even found this very interesting, Vladimir, that Agni is involved. Agni and the dawn. Agni from below and the dawn from above.
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, absolutely. There are two powers who alone in there this can effectuate this change, this transformation, the aspiration from the heart and the grace from above that answers. These are the powers which are constituting the Veda and the powers which constitute integral yoga. Two major powers, the psychic call and the mother's answer. The rest is not in our hands. We just have to let her work. She will engage all the devatas. We don't even need to know. We will discover them on the way. But if we want to be very specific and know what is who and how it acts, then this knowledge is given in the Veda. And that's why we come to the Veda with curiosity and interest to know what are these powers, what do they do. For me, it is not so much curiosity to learn about them. It's more, I will tell you what it is about. It's more about connecting. And by the way, I study Sri Aurobindo and integral yoga and Rigveda only for this connectivity, yes? To have the presence, to call the presence from above. And if it happens, then it succeeds. If it doesn't happen, then next time it will happen. Then I did something wrong. I did something mental. I did something mechanical, something unconscious. I have to always call for this awareness, consciousness of the words, meanings. I have to dive deeper into the meanings because they trigger this answer. Otherwise, why to study these texts? Why do you come to these studies? Out of curiosity? Of course you want the connection. You want the experience, the presence of the Spirit. That's why you read these texts.
Vladimir, once you had explained to us the role of Surya and Savitar, which I have forgotten. Can you please just say something about that?
Well, we find
Because Savitar was mentioned and Surya you had implied, but I have kind of lost the track of that.
Yeah, Sri Aurobindo refers to them as Surya Savitri. Interesting, both in one name. He puts over dash, Surya dash Savitri, one word. And they are one. One is the Lord and other is the self. So the Lord is Savitar. He is the master, Vashi, of Jagatahtastushascha, as Rigveda would say, of everything that moves and moves not. He is the Lord. And the other is Atma Jagatahtastushascha, is the self, the being of everything that moves and moves not. So this subtle difference, one is more acting upon the manifestation with consciousness. One is more consciousness, other is more being, if you will. Savitar is consciousness, Purusha, and Surya is being, self, Atman. So when we come to the Atman, to the supermind, and we embody the supermind, we become supramental being. We are no more in consciousness acting, as non-supramental being acting in consciousness is over mind. We are not yet supramentalized. But everything which acts upon us through dawn, through Usha, through the mother, is actually that supramental light, preparing us here for supramentalization, to become supramental beings. We are mental beings now. And our highest will be over mind. But once we become over man, over mental beings, we are ready to become closer coming to the supramental next stage.
For me, the volumes and volumes and volumes written by Sri Aurobindo and the mother about integral yoga totally gives me a framework to begin to understand the Veda. But when I see the correspondence between the two, then I immediately also see the correspondence with other traditions, notably with Christianity. And when I'm in this particular group and reading the verses and hearing either Sri Aurobindo's interpretation or yours, Vladimir, it's as if there are lights that shine. All of a sudden, my knowledge of the Bible, my familiarity with what Jesus allegedly said, it's like these little pieces light up. And there's certain words that just prompt me so strongly. Today, the concept of giving a new name. I mean, there's Adam in the very beginning of the Old Testament who names everything. And then in the book of Revelation, the last book of the Bible, when they're going through the different churches and Jesus has a message for each one, and he says, his promise is, I will give you a new name. So it's like, whoa, okay. Then there's this idea somewhere in there. There was the idea of the first fruit, that the dawn is the first gets the first offering, and that first fruit is a theme that's all through the Bible. Jesus is the first fruit, and then there's this idea of a house or a body or a mansion. Jesus talks about the mansion, that he's preparing a mansion, and so when I'm listening to this, like most of my notes that I'm taking are like, okay, look this up, because it seems like the Rig Veda is just the template for everything spiritual that came after it.
It's beautiful what you said, yes, absolutely. It lights up. This is a very good word to say. Lights up those kind of hidden or made religious and cultic words. But now they get a new meaning, kind of, because you have another language. Another language, two languages. They help each other to kind of understand. And we have Sri Aurobindo's and Mother's language also of integral yoga. So we are so lucky to have several languages to explain these spiritual phenomena to us. It's all about understanding. Once we understand, really understand, not mentally understand the symbol, but understand deeper what that symbol is about, yes, that triggers the experience, the presence.
When when you were giving your explanation, Vladimir, this it's an aphorism of Sri Aurobindo, so I think a little bit of that. Uh, you know, just that thought came, and it's where he says, "If mankind could but see," I'm just reading the aphorism. If mankind could but see, though in a glimpse of fleeting experience, what infinite enjoyments, what perfect forces, what luminous reaches of spontaneous knowledge, what wide calms of our being lie waiting for us in the tracks which our animal evolution has not yet conquered. They would leave all and never rest till they had gained these treasures. Yeah, I don't know, something you were talking about, the way it awakens, those spaces in us, all these qualities.
The
It's
inner treasures, yes.
yes, yes, yes. I think that must have been the part.
Very
And
beautiful, yes. If we see only just a glimpse where we are heading at, what we are looking for, what could happen to us, we would be all aspirants of the supermind, yes, of the Divine Mother to manifest. And supermind is also, we have to understand, it's another stage in evolution. It is a gateway to the beyond, to the transcendental Satchit Ananda, to the infinite Ananda, which never ends. So there will be more and more to achieve, more and more to rise. So there will be never going down where. Yeah, so it will be only plenitude. Sri Aurobindo translates this word largest, plenitude. The plenitude is infinite. Yeah? It is force, power charged with consciousness, grows in quality, quantity, and multiplicity, and universality, and transcendentality. Infinitely grows plenitude of delight, knowledge, power, and being. Fullness of fulfillment of being is never ending. It's not
Yeah, they
something.
make.
Yeah.
I had one small question. Can I look at the word nama as essence, essential core, essence or something?
Yes. It's an essence. It's a quintessential truth which was not yet in our consciousness. We didn't know about this. Yeah? So that's why the name has this very interesting quality. It's always hidden. In India, they give hidden names, secret names for internal use, for external and internal use. Why? It's a very ancient tradition, yes, to have a hidden name. Because hidden name is a trigger of some totally different behavior, totally different forces in us. Yes, name is a trigger. When you remember in Kena Upanishad, they wanted to know who Brahman was, Agni and Vayu, and then Indra. Even Indra came and Brahman disappeared, and then he found there Uma, the Divine Mother, actually, who told him that that was Brahman. And he was just hearing this word, Brahman name, he got everything. Why? Why didn't he ask, what do you mean, Brahman? Tell me more about Brahman. No, because Brahman is the name. The name tells you what it does. It tells you that it is an expanding power, the power which is never contracted, never captivated, never diminished. It's always expanding, always beyond your reach. This is what he got. He understood the very quintessential characteristic which name gives. You're absolutely right.
So name is without any attributes and properties, usually. Name is just name. You can start putting attributes to it once it starts spreading or
It's the meaning.
becoming manifest.
It's the meaning, yes. The meaning which manifests in forms, yes. But if you don't have the meaning, you don't have access to the understanding of that form. So you need the meaning of the form in order to be able to really relate to it in a way, what it means. So this is what name does. Name always opens up all possible relations. We spoke about this in our Sanskrit class, yes? So name is, it tells you how this thing relates to other things, yes? I'm always reaching to my phone. How this phone relates to this hand, to this ear, to this eye, to you, to call you, to send you the message. All these invisible things are the meaning of this form. And that is the name. It tells you what it does, what it can do, what it will be doing, what it was doing in time and space. Yes. So it tells you the whole spectrum which is not visible in the form. You look at the form and you don't know the name and you don't know what it does until you hear the name. And then you know, oh, this is what it does. And you can relate everything to it. This is how consciousness manifests through name.
Vladimir, if I can just take or we can take a few more minutes of your time. We are talking about the treasures inside, and then there's that line in Savitri, right? The nether members tire of peace. So why is, I mean, what, how do we make, I mean, we know this, all of us here. Still, it's, I mean, we don't do what he's saying in that aphorism, right? I mean, we don't like, at least I feel like, I can do so much more, but so how do you intensify that? I mean, your own journey, I guess, if you could just
I'm the same
share.
as you and everyone else. We inherited this body from the past, yes, with the incapacities to really hold on to the light peace. Only the little this light can stay, yes. Sri Aurobindo says in Savitri, only little this light can stay. And it cannot stay long. Why? Because the incapacity inbuilt in this, body of the animal. We inherited the body of the animal and we move forward, upward. And in that sense, the capacity is limited. We cannot really make changes in the body ourselves. And the clue is here to invoke the mother. And she knows. But then you have to be very patient and allow her to work. It won't be fast. It won't be quick. She will come and then she will withdraw and then she will come. The dawn, the illumination from above, and then she withdraws. And you may think, oh, why I don't have this anymore? Just in the morning it was so beautiful. And afternoon is so dull and so ordinary and so without any inspiration. And this is why? Because we cannot impose too much light. If we do that, we may break the system. It needs to rejuvenate. It needs to adapt itself. That's why we fall asleep every night also. We fall asleep to adapt to that what we received during daytime. Why we sleep. Yesterday I went to sleep and I thinking, go again to sleep. Every time to sleep. What is this? Yeah, falling asleep. Falling unconscious, yeah, switching off from the physicality. There's so much tension, so much work within the physical, vital, and mental is taking place, so much energy put into it, and it cannot handle it. It has to fall asleep. Yeah, because it is made from tamasic structures of nature, which is not yet capable of holding to peace. These nether members cannot hold, cannot bear peace too long. It is too boring for them. It kills them. Yeah. They do not know what to do with all that. They are not accustomed to it. They have to move. They have to generate physical energy in order to develop. Yeah. And that's why physical body has to walk, to push, to go, to run. Why? Because it needs energy to push itself forward in its development. It's not yet finished. So we are such a complexity. We are heaven and earth put together, you know. As Sri Aurobindo says, half beast, half God. Man is half beast, half God. So how this half beast, half God can survive? He falls beast every time easily, and then falls back, and then he is, in one moment, he is like the God himself, and then he falls back again. I remember how Nirod Baran was complaining to Sri Aurobindo. Sometimes I think I'm like a bundle of sexual desires, he says to Sri Aurobindo. And Sri Aurobindo says, but you are not always like this, isn't it? This is something interesting. You are not always like this. That means you are beast, yes, in your nature, but you are not only. To remember that. There is part in you which is developing, growing in you. You are the God also. Yeah? So we cannot blame our nature for that what we took onto ourselves. We need to work it out. And when we fall back, you just remember that, well, again, a new attempt, a new moving forward, yeah, is to be done. And it will be done because you can't do otherwise. You're already caught by the spirit of Sri Aurobindo. So there is no chance for you to escape and to say, okay, I will be only the beast. No way. Once you tasted that treasure, a little bit, that bliss, then we are all captives by the spirit. We have no chance but to go ahead with all this, to struggle. And then don't forget, we have to drop this body one day or another, to drop it altogether. It's kind of strange. From the point of view of the spirit, Sri Aurobindo says it's humiliating. It's humiliating to die. And people take it for granted, even believe that should be the way how it is, and it is always like it is. I don't think it is like it is. From the point of view of the spirit, it is totally unnatural. So here we are. Natural, unnatural, and everything in between. So, all right, I will stop here. Let me close with mantra, and we will reassemble next time. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.
Thank you.